In the back of the book segment tonight, Hillary Clinton and the mainstream media. She's gotten plenty of praise from the press over the years, but she's been hearing a very different and harsh tune since Emailgate erupted, and it hasn't gone without notice.
If Hillary's being treated like a Republican, it means she's being treated like Sarah Palin to an extent, which means the media is out to destroy her, which means it could. It's not nearly as focused and targeted as the media is going after Republican, but it's different this time. And the Democrat Party powers that be are worried that Hillary doesn't have the ability to overcome this.
Joining us now from Washington, Sabrina Schaefer, Executive Director of the Independent Women's Forum, along with Richard Goodstein, a Democratic strategist and former advisor to Hillary Clinton's 2008 presidential campaign. I'm going to start with you, Richard. What about it? Do you agree with Rush that she's being treated a little bit more harsh than in past and maybe even other Democrats?
I will stipulate that Rush Limbaugh is never going to be in her corner, and that if it wasn't for emails, there would be something, and it will always be something. Now, here's why Democrats are not nervous, and why I think it's really way off to say the media's turned on her. They're not nervous because when have they last had, in an open seat situation, Obama's term is up, somebody who is way ahead of her competitors in the polls and beating every single Republican in the polls? Never. That's a gift. And as far as
Republican candidate yet, Richard.
One second, Sabrina. And as far as returning to the 90s are concerned, which of these parts do people not want to go back to? The unprecedented economic growth or peace, in contrast to the two wars and economic collapse of the 2000s? I'm not quite sure what it is about that the public is somehow not willing to embrace.
All right, Sabrina, let's talk about this. New York Times broke the story 2 weeks ago. Since then, the AP is suing for some documents. Gawker is suing for some documents. Left-wing media is kind of after her, are they not?
No, absolutely. I think they've had a major case of deja vu. Look, the thing that's happened is that a lot of times people associate the Clintons with the prosperity of the 1990s. It was a peaceful time. It was strong economic time, but they also remember all of a sudden it's all rushing back, all the sleaze, all the scandals, all the problems that were also associated with the Clintons. And I think for the, to the credit of the media, they are doing their job. She is running for president, and they are probing, they are questioning, and they should do it to the Republicans too. But they are doing their job, and I applaud them for that.
And Richard, there's no question she's running for president, right? Otherwise, why do that big press conference? There's no reason to do it unless you're about to announce your candidacy.
I think that's a fair assumption. But with respect to the notion of the media turning on her, what's on the cover of the New York Times tomorrow or today talking about the vague rules about email, or tomorrow it will be about Hillary-nomics, her economic policy? What's on the cover of Politico, the suggestion that Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, and Scott Walker also used emails in some cases for official business? So if the media has turned, they're turning back pretty quick, and they're turning to issues like Iran nuclear deal and ISIS and economic inequality, things that matter to people. This email stuff.
Well, that plays into her hand, Richard. And we had another Democrat strategist tell us that it's time to move on. Also, maybe even two more on this show. Sabrina, these this scandal has a lot of legs. Every day we wake up and there's something else. Today we heard that Hillary Clinton's BlackBerry wasn't issued by the State Department or .gov. It was her private BlackBerry, and that matters when you're trying to get information.
Right. Look, I think it does have legs, and I think it could have an impact on opinion and on how voters ultimately behave. But this is an opportunity for the GOP. This is an opportunity for the GOP to let the media do its job and for it to come out with a positive agenda, for it to show themselves as leaders rather than attackers. I think that Hillary is being dealt with by the media right now. Now is the time for the Republicans to come out and say, hey, let us show you why we're better.
Richard, how you handle controversy is important. It's important the way people see her, the way they envision her as a potential president. How she handles this?
I think she's actually handled it not perfectly. She admitted herself she wished she had done things differently. Should she have come out sooner? Actually, I think had she wouldn't have had all the Q&As, all the documents that were actually submitted to the press that I think were helpful to put things in context. Would she have had all the answers? Would she have had a chance to do all the research that predicated the appearance before the press corps, that humongous press corps at the UN? Probably not. So I think timing-wise, she's doing it about right. I do think she's putting a line in the sand that she's got to observe, which is this notion of digging into my privacy. That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. Richard, you know what? This is the thing. If I can just jump in here for a second. segment. I think
Please.
it's all too little too late. The fact is, the reason that Hillary's always had this sort of contentious relationship with the media is that sort of smug attitude, that better than God attitude, that she's sort of doing us a favor coming out there the other day and telling us and trying to make a little joke about it. But the fact was, she didn't really believe that she should have to do that. She didn't really believe she should have to report to the American people what was going on. And I think that's the thing that voters are picking up on. They don't care about the sort of the details of the scandal. They pick up on the tone and the attitude. They didn't like it with Barack Obama, and they don't want it with Hillary Clinton.
Well, the evidence, if I can, Eric, the evidence that this is not taking a toll is the Gallup poll that came out just yesterday that showed Hillary favorable, unfavorable, 50 to 39 favorable. Every other Republican was either underwater or barely above water, and she beats every Republican in a head-to-head.
And that, you guys, has me scratching my head and will continue to do so. This story, again, has a lot of legs. We have to leave it right there. Richard, Sabrina, thank you very much. When we come back, some pithy thoughts.